Welcome to episode 70. I mean, do you have a little bit of an episode 69 hangover?
No.
I miss it. It was such a monumental occasion, such a celebration of joy and basically lewdness.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're just going to have to keep going until we get to episode 669, and then it's fucking on. But, Armando.
Yes, sir.
For the beginning of episode 70, if I may, I would like to start with a second edition of Adventures in Pooping.
Oh, you had another adventure.
A little bit, not on purpose, and that is how most adventures in pooping begin. If the listeners recall, my last adventure of pooping happened at the base of a 14,000-foot mountain when some osmotic laxatives kicked in unexpectedly, and I was left on the side of a parking lot. That one was not real fun. This one, in some ways, was even worse.
I don't know, dude.
So I had to go get an MRI.
It's hard.
Okay? I had to get an MRI on my neck. So if you're not familiar with the way an MRI works, it's like this huge machine, and there's this little sort of open tube in the middle of it, and they slide you in there, and then like a bad Skrillex song starts playing. Like the machine makes these really loud noises. It's like so I mean it's insanely loud. They always ask you, well, do you want headphones? You can listen to music, and you can never hear anything over the sound the machine's making, right? So are you visualizing this, Mondo?
Yep.
You slid into this thing, and you don't have a lot of room. Like the top of the machine is just inches away from your face. And the last two times that I've had to go in for MRIs, I kind of had a rough time. Like 2 times ago, like my legs started cramping up really bad, and my arm went numb, and you just can't move. That's the thing. It's a very slow technology, so you just have to stay still for like an hour. And the time after that, I got an MRI on my brachial plexus, and it's this little area kind of like below your shoulder, and that one, they actually strap you in, and they put this cage over your face. And usually I'm not claustrophobic, and I just couldn't fucking handle it. So I had to go back and redo it under sedation.
Nice. You had to be knocked out. You had to be drugged out.
Yeah, I got a little sleepy time medicine, a little of the Bill Cosby potion, and
Bill Cosby potion.
Yeah,
what's that? How dare you? It's Black History Month. How dare you?
I went unconscious, and I woke up, and I couldn't remember anything that happened. So I don't know. I was just a little bit nervous going into this one. I'm like, dude, I want to make it through. I want to make sure I get this thing done. So the morning of, I'm like, oh no, my stomach doesn't feel good. Fuck, because it's a little bit of a mental thing. Like you're gonna be in there, and you have to be like, brain, shut the fuck up. It's okay. There's like loud, aggressive noises, and you're stuck in a little tube. Don't be claustrophobic, brain. Chill out. And the last thing I wanted is to be stuck in this tube and being like, oh no, I have to take a shit. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take one of the super aggressive laxatives just to clear everything out.
Oh, you big dummy.
Well, so here's the thing. The one that I took works quickly, and it works and I took it pretty early in the morning.
Right.
So like I was on the toilet, like pooping, getting everything out, right up to the point where I'm like, oh no, I have to leave for the appointment, and I did not want to rush. I didn't want to leave one in the chamber, Mondo.
Got it.
I don't want to have a misfire in the tube, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm like, all right, I'm really going to work it out. And I showed up like 5 minutes late for the appointment. They're like, oh no, you have to come back.
That sucks.
2 hours later. I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers.
What the hell?
I know, I was 5 minutes late. I'm like, would you rather me be 5 minutes late or create a cleanup on aisle MRI machine?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I come back 2 hours later, and
But you didn't tell them that. You weren't like, I had a shit emergency. That's why I'm late.
No, I was just like, man, I had to take some medication. It was important. Trust me. So here's the trick. I come back two hours later, and like there's no one there now. Like it was really busy when I got there earlier in the morning, and I'm like, great. Like okay, they checked me in. there was some question. They're like, wait, we didn't know you were going to come back. And I'm like, dude, the guy told me to come back. Like, oh, he's not here now. And I'm getting kind of stressed. 'Cause I'm like, all right, I already had a near shit experience.
Yeah.
And then I missed the appointment, and now you're not sure if I can get it in. And then they finally say, okay, we can bring you back. So they bring me back, and this place wanted me to put on medical scrubs.
Mm-hmm.
Like usually you just go in a t-shirt and shorts. There just can't be any metal because the M in magnetic in MRI is for magnetic. It's a magnetic, I think, resonance imaging. So you can't have any metal or it's just gonna destroy the machine. So I put on these scrubs and they're like, okay, just if you want to go to the bathroom or anything.
Wait. Scrubs with undergarments on, or you're free balling underneath scrubs?
I was free balling. Fortunately.
Nice.
Very fortunately, because I was like, you know what? I don't really think I have to go, but let me just try to take a quick piss just in case. Because again, this was a little bit shorter of a test, but you're gonna be stuck. I'm gonna be stuck in this tube for 40 minutes. I didn't want to have them pull me out to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So like I go, and sometimes if you're just trying to squeeze a pee out, you're trying to force it. Sometimes it comes out the other end.
Oh no.
And apparently the laxative was still in a little bit of effect.
Oh,
so I'm like trying to pee, and I'm like, oh no. Like there's that moment of terror. You're like, did I just shart myself?
Yeah.
Is that what just happened? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I did. So.
Oh wow.
so like.
But wait, if you're wearing scrubs, are they the open ass scrubs?
No.
Oh.
So I took, fortunately I was in a enclosed bathroom for one person. So I was able to take them out.
Dang.
And kind of clean myself off and just roll them up into a ball, and then I have to like peek my head out the door like I'm in a 90s comedy, like looking both ways, like, oh, is there anyone here?
Yeah.
And just the changing room was just like one door down. So I'm just butt naked, waist down, and just dart back into the changing room.
And you just got another pair of scrub bottoms?
There was not another pair immediately available, so I just put on the pants that I brought, and I said to him, I'm like, hey, and you know what? I feel like this is a lot of personal growth, because I would have been really embarrassed younger in my life, and I was like, you know what? Shit happens, literally.
Yeah.
I was just like, hey, I don't know if she's a nurse or what, but like guess what? Like, I took some laxatives this morning. I'm gonna need a new pair of scrubs.
You just said it like that, like all plain. And what was her response?
She got it. It was hilarious. She's like, oh my god, okay, I'll go get a bag. And I was like, there's just like a tiny little bit of poop in it. It's not toxic waste. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know what? In a way, it kind of was toxic waste, but you get what I'm saying. So she like puts them in a fucking bag, and then they put them. I was half expecting her to use one of like the radiation shields that they use for X-rays.
Yeah.
Put it around, but so she takes it and she gets me another pair, and I put them on and I go to get the MRI. But like at this point, like I try to remain as calm as possible as like through that, but like I'm a little rattled. It's been a tough day so far, and I usually when I'm going into an MRI, like I will do some meditation, like I'll sort of reframe of like, okay, like this is actually for healing.
Do you get anxiety?
Well, like I said, the last 2 times I had a really tough time going in these machines. Like it's very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not someone who like terribly struggles with that, but yeah, you're in this tiny little like tube with these like loud sounds. You have to sit perfectly still. There's always a little bit of an anxiety for me of like, oh no, is like a muscle going to cramp up? Is my neck going to start hurting? I mean, like I said, 2 times before I'd gotten the elbow surgery, like my whole arm just went completely numb, which was weird because it got numb and painful at the same time. And I'm like, I just can't fucking move though, or I'm going to ruin the whole imaging and we'll have to do it again.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, there's like, oh, what's going to happen? And I have to kind of like talk myself into it. Oh, this will be a good thing. This is great. This is what I need to do to heal, to get healthy. Like, this is where I want to be, inside this fucking tube with, again, I just describe it as like bad Skrillex music blaring. And so like, I haven't had that little conversation with myself. I haven't like reframed it. And I go in, and there was, I'm trying to think how to describe her. She reminded me like of like one of the ladies that worked at the front office of your high school, where like I get there, she's like, all right, you're here today. You ready to do the MRI? It's going to be 40 minutes. You're really noisy. Have you ever heard the noisiness of it? I'm like, yeah, can I just get in? And she's like, all right, now we're going to put your head and you know what? Let's stick some earplugs. Have you ever used earplugs? Yeah, ma'am, I've used earplugs. Do you need me to put those in? No, I've got it. Okay, now we're going to stick some sponges on either side of your head too, just to make sure it's not too loud. I'm like, all right. So it's like, I'm like on the table. I've got these sponges pressing on either side of my head. They're kind of making it so I can't move my head. And the table you sit on kind of like retracts back into the machine. And I get back in there and like, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was because it was dark in there or whatever. But like, as soon as I start going back in, I'm like, oh fuck, I don't want to do this. And I'm having this conversation with my brain. We're like, brain, shut up. Like it's only gonna be 40 minutes. Like we've been in here for 3 seconds, so all we have is 39 minutes and 57 seconds left. And my brain's like, no, fucking get me out of here. I don't want to do it. So like, you have this little squeeze ball where if you squeeze it, they'll take you out. So I'm literally in there 3 seconds.
Really?
And I squeeze it. I'm like, oh, I just don't want to be in there. And they pull me back out. And the lady's like, oh no, did you get claustrophobic, honey? And I'm like, yeah, a little bit. That's why I squeezed it. And she's like, okay, because I have claustrophobia too. I'm like, okay, that's great. You know what? I think if you just give me a minute and let me clear my head, I think I'll be okay. And she's like, okay, because some days when I've had to get MRIs, I just can't do it, and then there's other days where I can. I'm like, oh, okay, but I think I have to go in the machine, so just give me a second to clear my head. She's like, okay, because I know the last time when I went in there, they put this damp washcloth over my face, and then I couldn't see, so that really. I'm like, Jesus Christ, lady, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Please. I finally said, I'm like, really? Like, I you know what? I usually will just meditate in silence for like, 15, 20 minutes beforehand. If you give me just 60 seconds, I think I can wrap my head around it.
I think you went into the whole situation already kind of like predisposed to like be angry. Like you were like a hair trigger away from like setting you off.
Well, I don't think I was angry. It was just like it was stressful. I was a little bit stressed.
Yeah.
I think understandably, right?
Yeah.
And then she just really. I actually think I abbreviated the whole part of that conversation because she had this whole thing about like how like she's claustrophobic and like she goes in there and she feels like it's closing in on her, and then when she has the washcloth over her face, then she can't see it. I'm like, this is not helping.
Yeah, she's like an X-ray assistant. She's not a fucking psychologist. Like, she's not there to like soothe you and calm you down.
Describing how you experience claustrophobia in great detail.
Yeah,
not helpful in this situation.
It just makes it fucking worse.
But so what I did end up doing was I did like a speed run of the meditations I do where I'm like, all right, like this is good. Like I'm gonna get better. This is gonna help me. Like this is the place I need to be in the world right now. This is where I'm meant to be. Like this will be a step forward. Blah blah. The whole thing in like 60 seconds, and then I say, okay, you know what? Just don't put the sponges on either side of my head, because for me, it's actually not even so much being stuck in the machine. It's being stuck in the machine and feeling like I can't get out. Right?
Yeah.
That's what freaked me out about the one with the cage over my head was like if I wanted to get out of there, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I don't think. Maybe if I destroyed like thousands of dollars of machinery.
You would have had to go Jeffy Smash to like get out of there.
And maybe who knows? There's not like room to really maneuver very well in those things. But so they took the sponges off and they slid me back in, and like I just went like full meditation mode. Like I was actually envisioning this scene in the book I'm writing, and like rendering like every little detail of this bar that one of the chapters takes place like in my head, and I'm like, oh, this is actually good. Like I'm seeing the story and I'm like plugged in, and then like every 5 minutes, then this lady starts going, "Are you okay in there?
Yeah.
Are you right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And then 5 minutes later, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I'm deeply meditating. You stop. I actually finally said, I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm okay unless I squeeze the little ball, lady." And she's like, "Oh, okay. You just let me know." I'm like, "All right."
Now I gotta ask. So then, would it be a bad thing if you fell asleep in there? It's the same thing as
no. So the first time I ever had to get an MRI, I was so fucking tired. I was barely sleeping. I just passed out for the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that makes it easier because you're not whatever's going on as far as like anxiety and all that stuff. It's just like, well, I'm asleep. You're not experiencing all that, psychological of being fucking stuck in a little hole.
Yeah, I mean, so the first time I even got an MRI for this was back in 2013, and I had zero claustrophobia issues, anything. I was just like, all right, just sign me back in there, and then I fell asleep, woke up, and they're like, okay, we're done. I mean, I literally had them drug me so I could fall asleep the previous time. And then I woke up and I was like, huh? What's going on? Where am I? Bill, is that you?
Good story. So
Adventures in Pooping, guys. You know what? We're seeing a theme. Be careful when using laxatives and then trying to do something afterwards. I'm 0 for 2.
The idea of taking laxatives, to me, is it's like wearing an ankle monitor. Because if you think about it, like you have to be near a toilet. Like you can't be too far from a toilet. Otherwise, you're fucked. Like you have nowhere to poop.
Dude, Mondo, there is always somewhere to poop.
I mean, you could just poop. You could just poop on the side of the street. But I'm talking about you're comfortable. You don't have to fucking shit in the street. Like I'll if I had to take a road shit, I've done road shits. That's not. I'm just saying so.
Yeah,
taking time bomb, like kind of know your surroundings.
but Mondo, speaking of ticking time bombs and ankle monitors, what is happening?
You're welcome.
In the wonderful world of Florida.
Man in stolen vehicle asks strangers for help, charging his ankle monitor.
I could see in your face, you're so proud of yourself.
Yeah,
you're like, this is a stretch, but I'm gonna do it. Yes.
But it was like it's a perfect little layup, and then you just bring it down, big man, bring it down. Okay, a man on house arrest was taken into custody by the DeSoto County Sheriff's Office after he was seen riding in a stolen vehicle and asking for help charging his ankle monitor.
This is a very short story, but like each line in it is just amazing. So I still can't believe there's a guy who clearly is not within range. I mean, that was your whole point, right? You have to be within range of your house.
Or a toilet, just somewhere to shit.
No, but with an ankle monitor,
you
have to be in range of your house.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's like well out of the range of the determined location for his ankle monitor. The thing is losing charge. It's like, hey, I'm clearly a criminal.
Can you please charge my ankle monitor so I don't get in trouble?
I've got jewelry to prove that I did something terrible. Can I plug this into your house? Just that by itself is sort of amazing.
Do you think they plug in like with a regular AC cable, or what? How do they?
I would assume so. Now I'm laughing because I'm like, the thought popped in my head.
USB?
Yeah, like this motherfucker should have gotten one of those little portable phone chargers.
Yeah.
So he's like got his ankle monitor plugged into a USB charger.
On Tuesday evening, the DeSoto County Sheriff's Office received several calls about a person riding through homeowners' properties on a red side-by-side. Oh, so it wasn't just a regular little vehicle. It was a side-by-side.
So I didn't even know what a side-by-side was. Can you explain it for anyone else?
Yeah, isn't it just one like a motorcycle with like a little cart on the side of it?
No, that's what I thought.
Oh, then I'm wrong too.
That's a sidecar
on
a motorcycle. So it's like, when I looked at it, it looks like a golf cart on steroids.
A golf cart. Okay, so just like kind of like the warthogs or those things that the fucking dudes go off-roading and kind of sort of.
That sounds right. Yeah, like it has like that driver's seat for a golf cart, and then has a second seat.
Yeah. Right
next to it, and then there was usually a little kind of back area, just almost like a mini pickup truck bed where you could throw something.
Yeah. The man identified by authorities as Joshua Shane Kreider approached a stranger and asked if he could use their electrical outlet to charge his ankle monitor.
Okay, that mystery's solved. It's just regular AC power.
Yeah. Detectives responding to the call saw Kreider behaving strangely. As they approached him, Kreider reached into his pockets and made several suspicious clicking sounds. When the suspect refused to keep his hands visible, he was handcuffed. During a search of the suspect, Kreider was found with a box cutter in his pocket with the blade out. Ooh. So he was fucking armed.
Okay, I don't know if it says it in this story. Another one said that like he wouldn't bring his hands out of his pockets, and they heard like a clicking noise. Which, God damn it, if I was a police officer in Florida and I'm apprehending a guy who's driving a stolen side by side, has been trying to charge his ankle monitor, and I'm like, take your hands out of your pockets, and then he won't do it, and I hear click, click, click.
I would have shot.
Maybe. You think that one's justifiable if they had just shot him?
If you hear a click, 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 yeah, but unless you like know unless you can identify what the click is coming from, like if it's like a toy or some other thing that makes a clicking noise, you're like, okay, I know what that is. But there's but yeah, to answer your question, if I hear click and I don't know what the fuck it is, I'm probably shooting him. I'm probably shooting him first.
Now, on the flip side, what do you think this guy's plan was with the box cutter? Like, guys, if you've never seen a box cutter, it has like an 1.5-inch blade.
Yeah, but those things are sharp as fuck.
Right. But he's planning on like closing the distance on the police officers, and then he was going to stab them with a box cutter, or like what was the plan there?
If he had his hands in his pocket, and I assume that click, click, click was
he was
blade
extending the blade, exactly.
Yeah, so if he's doing that, you have to assume that the thinking is, I may have to use this weapon here.
So he was going to fight his way through 2 police officers,
dude,
with his box cutter.
Come on, he's clearly not thinking straight anyway. He's like, like you said, he's running around asking people to help charge my ankle.
Wait, are you suggesting that this master criminal mind did not have like a Ocean's 11 style exit plan?
Dude, how do those things come off? Do they just? I mean, or maybe he was going to use the box cutter to cut the ankle monitor off.
Oh, how did the ankle monitors come off?
Yeah,
I don't know. You know what? I had a roommate, sort of, when I first moved to Philadelphia after college, but I never saw him because like I moved into with him for a week. It was his apartment. I was just like subletting the room, and then he got his 3rd or 4th DUI.
Oh no!
And he was on house arrest at his girlfriend's house the entire time I lived there.
Jesus.
And he had an ankle monitor. So I could, you know what? If could call up old Yankowski, maybe we could we could get the lowdown from him. But I don't know. I've never had an ankle monitor.
Yeah, I've never known of anybody with an ankle monitor that I can think of. I can't. It was in the show. It was in the show we were watching. The Hentified. Anyway, there's not much left in the except for, let's see. Detectives ran a check on Kreider and found he was on house arrest. Kreider faces charges of grand theft of a motor vehicle and resisting arrest, both felonies. So this guy's he's already got 2 strikes. And then who knows what he, is it a felony to try to remove a ankle monitor? Maybe that's the 3rd strike. I don't know.
I hope they let him go and we can see a next installment of, Ocean's 11 gets unlimited sequels. This guy should too. I want to see what his next brilliant robbery is going to look like.
Moving on from Florida Man, we're going to Reddit. Reddit question number 1. Aaron.
Yes.
What's your gotta take one for the team story?
Okay. Well, mine actually, you know what? Also set in Florida.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So, as we have mentioned before, I was a women's collegiate athletics coach for a minute. And so this happened when was it? I think it was actually my second year when I was an assistant. And like I think I've said the school I worked for when I was an assistant was super poor. Like it had almost gone out of business. It was a Catholic school. Like they were trying to use athletics to save it, but like we never had enough money for anything. Like uniforms, we played our games at a local high school field. But like one thing the team always wanted to do was go on these spring break trips, which most teams that would do that would go on these pre-packaged ones where your housing and the fields and everything would all sort of come together. And they were great, but they were insanely expensive. It'd be like $30,000.
What?
Yeah, exactly. So my second year, I was like, okay, let me see if I can sort of finagle this a little bit where I'll find the housing and I'll somehow find a practice field and like I'll arrange all this so we're going to at least cut the cost in half.
Yeah.
So instead of using like condos or something like that are sold to teams, I actually found, I can't remember, I think they were Vibro. They weren't Airbnb. I want to say they were Vibro houses.
Is it Vibro or Verbo?
I don't know.
I think it's Verbo.
Could be. Fairly irrelevant for the story.
I saw a commercial that said Verbo.
Okay. And so anyhow, I booked these houses in Ponte Vedra Beach, which is close to Jacksonville, Florida. And I was like, ooh, it's like these 2 beach houses. We were kind of early in the season. I think it was March. So like they probably weren't getting tons of bookings. And the fact that we booked them for a week, we got a discount. So it was like way, way cheaper. And, you know, we had to drive in a bus from Cleveland, Ohio, all the way to Jacksonville, Florida.
How long of a drive is that?
It's a long drive, Armando.
Like, I would say, was it a day? Like a 24-hour thing?
I can't remember because I think I've mentally deleted all that. Like, you know when people have like repressed traumas?
Yeah.
They can't remember it. Like, so yeah, maybe if I do like hypnosis therapy, I'll suddenly remember that entire trip down. But no, I don't remember. I could look it up, but it was a while. We were all very tired. And you want to talk about the stress of an MRI machine. There's nothing like the stress of being on a bus with like 25 cranky college girls who are just pissed off. And we get down there and they see the houses and they're like so excited, right? And they're like running around trying to claim rooms, and we'd already done room assignments. And the place where I realized, oh, I fucked up was in the description. It said that there was this mother-in-law suite with like 2 beds and its own separate bathroom. Like, perfect. Like me.
Oh, so you're thinking I could get that place?
Because there's 2 male me and the male head coach. So it's like we could both stay in there. It's like a suite and it's got 2 beds.
You'll be away from the fucking nutty fucking girls.
And it was attached to the house. So I'm like, there's no problem. So there on that trip there were adequate bedrooms for the team. But when we go and look at this quote unquote mother-in-law suite, it's like, oh my God, it was tiny, like maybe like a 7 by 8 foot room.
Oh no! And like a closet, like a big closet.
It was a big closet with a very small bathroom and like one of those like 30 by 30 inch showers.
That's what you do with your mother-in-law. You put her in a fucking little
and the 2 beds were, you know what a trundle bed is?
A trundle bed.
Yeah, so it's like a usually a twin, like a very small twin bed, but underneath it is like a second bed that you could pull out and it pops
like
up.
A sliding. Yeah. Okay.
Those are called trundle beds.
Yeah, hotels have them and shit.
So that was the second bed, and there was not enough room to pull the trundle bed out and then have it sit next to the other one.
Really?
It was like you had to like angle it, and I'm just like, oh no. I want to be furious, but I'm the one who booked this.
Yeah.
So this is clearly my fault. And so I'm like just scouting around the house, and there wasn't like a garage, but there was just this like little tiny utility room on the other side of the house. And it was, I mean, cobwebs and like old jars of like turpentine and all this shit. And I'm just like trying to do the math. I'm like, I think it's either I sleep on the beach or I try to clean this thing out. And like I remember, you know, this is like all the girls have sort of settled in, and I think we were getting ready to go to a restaurant for dinner, and like I'm just hauling all this shit out of this utility room. There's like some yard supply stuff, and I'm pulling out all the hazardous chemicals, like because there was, I can't remember, they had like oil and turpentine and all this other stuff, and one of the girls, and you know what, Marissa Neri, if you're listening, I will put you on blast. I don't care. She walks by and sees me cleaning out this room. Like I see the sort of gears turning in her head, and then she realizes what's happening, and she straight up gives the Nelson from The Simpsons, like, ha ha, and like points and laughs and walks on. I'm like, you motherfucker. And so I ended up sleeping in this little storage shed for the entire trip. And you know what, Marissa Ranieri, joke is on you, because once I actually managed to pull the trundle bed out of the mother-in-law suite, and I use the term loosely, it was actually pretty cool in there. Like, I set up my laptop, I had a little TV area, I had shelves, and Mondo, I didn't have my own bathroom, but I had my own utility sink, which is almost as good.
Well, that's a good urinal.
It was a sink / urinal / water source. It was amazing. You know what? That was definitely a take it for the team moment where I'm like, yeah, I'm sleeping in the utility shed, but it ended up working out just fine by me.
My take it for the team story, I couldn't really think of any like really good ones. So the one I have is like, I don't know, maybe you can interpret it as taking it for the team. I had to put up with one of our Lancer brothers. He was dating a gal at the time. She was like knocked up, I think, by one of her like ex-boyfriends or something, and like
I feel like I'm playing a game of Guess Who right now.
No, you'll know right away. So my roommate / one of our brothers was like dating this chick, you know, and she would bring her friend around who was a quote unquote porn star. This girl did not look,
and I know.
She did not look anything like the worst dog. Anyway,
Oh, I remember.
But
I remember the porn star in question even.
But he would, I don't remember her. I don't remember if she was a porn star or not. I never bothered to look her up. But he would bring her around to the room, and like I had to like just sit there and like listen to, dude, like for the most part, there's some sane-ish strippers, but a lot of strippers are fucking crazy. They're like fucking like, woo! They're like fucking ape shit.
Their crazy to hot ratio is directly slanted to the crazy.
Yes. So I imagine, so this chick that was a porn star, she was like fucking baddie. She was fucking like nuts, and so I would have to like he would bring her over. Yeah, what?
Can I just get, because I remember I was in the apartment when she was over once, and she's just like completely spaced out. I was just like staring off into nothingness, and someone's like, "Do you have a rough day?" And she's like, "Yeah." Too many fuck scenes. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
No, wait, how many? Don't answer that. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, it sucked because like, on the one hand, you know, we want our friend to like, he's dating this chick. Okay, I hope things go well with you and your lady friend. You know, may the force be with you. You're making horrible choices, but we're gonna support you, even though we know you like red flag. What are you doing? We're like, okay. Sure, we'll just anyway. So we went and played along with the game, and yeah, having this chick in the room was a fucking. But it was like I suck it up. Just
you know that store Lids that only sells hats?
Yeah,
they could have. She had enough red flags that they could have started flags.
Oh yeah, like, dude. Yeah.
She had the whole collection.
She was fucking nuts, dude. Anyway, that was, I guess, the closest thing I could come up with for a take it for the team. I'm sure there were other.
So were you living in the apartment with them?
No. We
Who else was that? Because I remember he had an apartment.
We were roommates on campus for a semester, maybe a year. I don't remember exactly how long it was because he got like he get academically kicked out of school. I think one semester too. Yeah, so I think he lived there for one semester and one off. I don't know. I don't remember how all that worked out.
Amazingly, I remember seeing the porn star and I'm like, you know what? I do not think this is the worst life choice he's made. Which the bar was pretty low, but at the same time, I really, in the midst of some of his worst decisions, I was like, you know what? I think this dude's gonna figure out. He's gonna be fine. Like, he actually had a lot of like positive qualities going for him as well, and like. Once he kind of got his head on straight, seems like he's done great for himself. So you know what?
Yeah.
There's light at the end of the tunnel, degenerates.
Yeah. Yeah. You can make a shitload of stupid decisions, and eventually you will just kind of be like, okay, life, you put me through the ringer. I'm just gonna walk the straight and narrow, and things are gonna be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the answers on Reddit, these are all kind of long answers, so I'm gonna just read like two. Okay, user slurms _Mackenzie 42 writes, My ex-girlfriend and I worked at a bar in Montreal. She was a waitress and I was a bartender. Once in a while, a bunch of rich dudes from the States would come up and flaunt their money to give the girls we work with, buying champagne and such. One night, she was serving them and I got cut early and was waiting until she was done, and those dudes insisted on giving her drinks. She was coming down with a cold and didn't want a drink, so she kept feeding me drinks intended for her. Long story short, there ended being roofies in the drink, and I blacked out, and I woke up on my apartment floor and my girlfriend on the couch. I'm glad I took that one for her. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's funny, but it's not, because it's like, hilarious. Someone was trying to rape your friend.
Yeah.
God dang. That is something that they have to deal with. I've never really been afraid that I was going to get roofied.
Yeah.
Although, like, it kind of happened, but whatever. That's not the point.
No, I think for me it was probably like roofie me, but no, it never happened. So that was a fucked up one. I'm gonna use it to read the.
You okay, bud?
Yeah.
All right.
Triple burn writes, when my loving and dear mother went to the hospital last month due to terminal brain cancer, only 2 people could visit for her entire stay due to COVID security. My father was one of the 2, and the last spot was between my sister and I. I let my sister have the last spot without debating or arguing. After 2 days of not being able to visit, they were able to convince the hospital management to make an amendment and let me in. Unfortunately, I missed out on the 2 of the last 5 days she had left. I don't understand how that's I guess take it for the team because you let the sister go in. I mean, you still ended up getting to see your mom.
Yeah, I understand. I understand what they're saying, though.
Yeah.
Like that, like especially in the moment where it's like, oh, this might be the last time I ever get to see my mom alive. They all want to go, and it's like, you know what? Okay, I'll be the one that just, takes a step back. Like, it worked out, or at least they got to see her, but still, like, in the moment, that had to have been pretty tough.
Yep.
We're not minimizing your pain, user. What was the username?
User was triple burn.
Triple burn.
Yeah.
We empathize with you.
That's all we're going to read for the first Reddit question because we're already kind of... So Reddit question number 2. If someone borrowed your body for a month, what kind of jiggle the handle tips would you give them so they aren't caught off guard?
Oh, fuck. Like, you remember there's that scene in Van Wilder when the Tara Reid character is trying to get, like, records on him, and, like, they pull out this huge book and, like, slap it down, and they're like, all right, that's from freshman year.
That's just first semester freshman year.
That's my person. They're just getting a goddamn instruction manual that's like a foot thick. Like, boom, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? Okay, that right toe is gonna hurt if you extend your step too much, and then that knee pain is actually, it's like, oh my god, it would be a whole thing. I would just be like, dude, I'm sorry, like, it's gonna suck, but it's only a month. You'll be fine.
What? No, but hold on. There's got to be of the Bible of the archives of problems of your body. Like, if you had to choose one thing, like 1 or 2 of the bigger, more like,
you just can't sit down.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're in one of these zero gravity chairs, but you can't be in the sort of upright position. It has to be at least at I don't know what I'm at now, like a 30-degree recline.
Yeah.
Like, just don't sit down. It's not worth it. Like, you might feel like you can, you'll pay for it. And that's one where I don't know if people would actually automatically figure that out. Like, it took me a while at first because it seems so weird where it's like I'm sitting but I'm getting headaches because I'm sitting. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a big one. There's a lot. There's all
But
kinds of.
that would be probably like the bigger one.
And then I would have like there'd be like a 15-page section about, like, this is all the things I do so I can sleep, like, reasonably well at night. If you don't follow these, you're gonna have a bad time.
If someone borrowed my body for a month, I would tell them, hey, just like I said earlier, like, you be with, like, know your radius, know your surroundings, know where all the nearest toilets are at all times, especially after you've just eaten a meal. Because there are times where, like, I'll feel fine, I'll feel good, I'll feel hungry, and, like, I'll finish my meal, and, like, within 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, I gotta take a shit. Like I gotta take a dump. And sometimes, like, yeah, it'll happen like in the middle of the day. So
do you have intestines, or is it just is it just right from your mouth to your butthole?
I think
You're like a parakeet.
I think. Yeah, no, I don't have a very good metabolism, so I think what happens is like I think my food just kind of like, it's like evacuate. He just ate. We got to evacuate space for what to just take in what he just ate.
That's even. It's even worse, Mondo. That's disgusting.
So yeah, like, dude, that's you get older. Our bodies. You think we could live forever, but our bodies otherwise tell us like, oh no, you're gonna start falling apart little by little. You just don't know it yet, and then you start realizing like, oh, like you said, there's this problem, and then there's that problem, and then there's this. Like I've got bad bum knees now.
Wait, Mondo, you're like a poop marine. You know, there's that whole marine quote where it's like always be ready and have a plan to kill anyone you meet.
Yeah.
And it's like Mondo's like always be ready and have a plan to poop at any time.
Yeah.
He's instead of seeing exit strategies and casing the entrance, Armando's like, okay, where's the nearest toilet?
My last job when I was still in California, I'm on the road like 70% of the time, in between like seeing customers and whatever. So I pretty much had to know what restaurants. Whenever you had to take a shit and you're on the road, you're like, oh, you kind of mentally keep track of whether or not that bathroom was clean or not. And so I kept the fucking notepad on my iPhone with like not ratings of the bathrooms, but which ones, what bathrooms are clean, and if they had them little like keypad like codes to get in, like I would know the code. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't have to go up front and like ask for the code again. I would just like go. I would just like boop, boop, boop. I know. Don't mind me. I know my way around. I've been here before.
Armando, shit commander.
Yeah, dude. Let's see what some of the other users of Reddit answered with. User Colin Bridgerton writes, if you squat too long at something, you will feel like you're going to faint, and then you will. Plan accordingly. Wow.
Okay.
Does that happen to you?
No.
Just squatting, like you feel like you're going to pass out?
Guy's probably holding his breath.
Maybe. User Lakota482 writes, at least 3 times a week, get someone to slap your left butt cheek as hard as possible to alleviate pain and the nerve issues in the leg. Thank God I'm married and not having to ask random people in the street for help. So she's got to get slapped on her left butt cheek.
Okay. I feel like there's probably, I don't know if it's like a sciatica issue,
yes.
but like,
yeah.
I think there's other ways to work that out. But you know what? That makes for some fun bedroom time. So
yeah, someone below did respond with sciatica, and they responded, yes, it is. So
you do you, sweetheart.
This one here applies to me as well. User Clipless Wingtips writes, when you think you're done pooping, you never are. There's always a little resolution epilogue lull. That happens to me on occasion as well. Like where like I'll feel like I just took a shit and like I'm good, my bowels are emptied, and then I make my way to work, like, oh no, there was something else left in the chamber. That happens to me quite a bit. So I shit a lot is what I'm saying.
Adventures in Pooping Part 3.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That was it for Ask Reddit. We are now going to do a review of, was it on Netflix? I don't remember what.
No, it was on Show.
Okay.
And that is the Showtime streaming app.
Showtime streaming app. The show we are going to talk about is...
Yes, that is where I come in. Today we're reviewing Yellowjackets on Showtime. This time I even gave Armando the script that I'm using.
I don't like using scripts, but go on.
Yeah, you can just ignore it. And the show that we're reviewing is Yellowjackets on Showtime, and critics have dubbed it a mystery/horror/comedy show. And it follows a team of high school girls soccer players who crash in the wilderness. First, I have to say, I really empathized with their male coach. Poor guy loses a leg right off the bat. And by the episode titled Blood Hive, so named because the entire team is on their periods, I was like, okay, this is 100% a horror show. Buddy, just have them cut off your other leg and throw you in that lake. It would be a mercy killing. Because, dude, that is a real thing that happens.
That the girls they cycle
together?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned a spring break trip earlier.
Uh-huh.
I remember coming back from one where they'd all synced up, and I think we were like in the middle of nowhere in North Carolina, and they all wanted to stop, and like somehow that their predicament became my fault. I'm like, I didn't even want to be here. I was like Dante from Clerks. I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't even want to be here today.
Yeah.
I didn't want to come on this trip. You guys wanted to go on a spring break trip. Don't blame me. But yeah, having 20 plus girls all on their periods mad at you and being trapped on a moving tour bus. Oh God, that's just a next level of hell. I think how many levels in Dante's Inferno? I think 7.
I don't know.
That's the 8th level that Dante couldn't even imagine. The show cuts between 2 timelines. One follows the girls in the wilderness struggling to survive. The second is the same characters as 40-somethings trying to unravel a blackmailing and potential murder. What are they being blackmailed for? We don't know exactly, but it is made immediately clear that some Lord of the Flies level shit went down in the woods. The tension between the 2 timelines, I think, works very well because the actors' pairings between the younger and older selves are really incredible. In particular, I thought Samantha Henrity and Christina Ricci both steal the show as Misty, a socially shunned but mostly well-meaning psychopath.
Yeah, she's pretty fucking nuts.
I had some laugh out loud moments in the show.
Yeah, there's times where like I'm mad at her, like I want to choke her, and then there's moments where I'm like, you're the fucking shit, you're the fucking best.
And like in particular the 2, I thought it was a pleasure to watch Christina Ricci dance all over the crazy to hot ratio like a Romanian gymnast doing a floor routine. Like she named her parrot Caligula.
Yeah.
Like just that one detail in of itself was amazing. Well done, Yellowjackets screenwriters.
Yeah.
And I was also really impressed with the pairing of Sophie Thatcher and Juliette Lewis as Natalie. Like, I could genuinely believe they're the same person 25 years apart.
Yeah.
So kudos to Sophie Thatcher for doing a spot-on Juliette Lewis impression. And big respect to Juliette Lewis for doing 30 years of method acting prep for the role of mentally unstable, hard-drinking, coke-smoking Natalie.
Yeah, dude. Isn't she kind of like in real life?
Yes.
Like kind of like all over the fucking
It's
place.
an amazing casting.
Yeah.
Because that was the other part too. Like they even do look a little bit alike. Those 2 actresses.
You could see them being, like you said, digitally enhanced the younger chick to where she looks like fucking Juliette Lewis in her older age.
But I do remember. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like Juliette Lewis does look a little bit rough to be. And I thought, you know what though, if she has just been like binge drinking and snorting heroin, and would you inject heroin? I don't know, but you get the point. Like, yeah, you know what? You're gonna put a few crease marks in the old face there.
You know what's interesting about Juliette Lewis? Sorry to go on a little tangent here. Is in her younger years as an actress, she was considered like an attractive actress. She never did it for me when she was younger. But now that she's older, I'm like, hey, what's up?
Dude, she kept fit.
Yeah, well, it's not just her fitness, but it's kind of that, like you talked about the crazy hot ratio, where like for a woman in her age, that crazy hot ratio is like, okay, yeah.
Armando's like, if I sleep with Juliette Lewis, she might kill me in my sleep.
Yeah,
but it will be worth it.
It's no wonder why I have no fucking. Yeah, anyway,
did any of the other actresses or actors stand out to you?
The girl that plays the lead, I guess the cheerleading captain.
Mm-hmm.
I know the actress's name. I'm forgetting the character's name. Her actress name is Elna Purnell.
Okay.
She plays like the lead of the Yellowjackets team.
The captain.
Yeah, she stood out. She's had to play like just a character. The arc, you know, and then all the mystery like revolving like.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, she was good, and it's like the show almost spoils itself a little bit because you're like, oh, she doesn't get an older self. And I also enjoyed how the show blends supernatural elements with gritty realism. Like, as a former women's coach, I can attest that they will literally start a dance party anywhere. We're lost in the woods with limited resources. Let's use our last batteries to do the Running Man to This Is How We Do It by Montel Jordan. Like that would 100% happen.
Yeah.
And so just again, like Coach Ben, I'm telling you, just cut your other leg off and throw yourself in that lake. That's not going to get any better, man. And the last part of the show that really stood out is the brilliantly written dialogue. It's elevated and sharp, but still believable. The line that I especially enjoyed was delivered by young Natalie, and it was, "Come on, who hasn't rolled over a broken tray table while making out in a bloodstained death trap?" And that's kind of what I mean, where it's would anyone actually say that in real life? Probably not. But the performance and her delivery was so natural. I was like, okay, that's pretty funny, Natalie.
Yeah,
because they're making out in the wreckage of a
plane.
A crashed plane. So to sum it all up, this is a well-written cross-genre show with standout acting performances. So whether you want some buddy cop action, blood and gore, or girls dancing around in their underwear, there's a little something for everything. So I give Yellowjackets a raw and bloody 9 out of 10 stars.
I've always been a fan of of shows that have like a ton of characters, where it's not just like a lead and then that there's maybe a couple other side characters and then an antagonist. Like I've always liked ensemble type of shows. And so I had hesitations. I was like, oh, it's a fucking youth soccer team. Like that's not something
high school.
Whatever. High school, whatever. It's not something that's like, oh, I want to watch it because of that. But then when you watch, when you're like an episode or two in, and you understand that there is like a different dynamic with each character, just like the Breakfast Club did, where there was like the jock, there was the this, there was the that. There's a basket case. Yellowjackets has that with the team. So you have like your badass standout, you have your bookworm, you have this, that. So you have like a different character type within the team. And so that like hooked me. Like I wanted to see where all the characters would like play off of each other in certain scenarios, and like especially ones with Misty, whether it was the old Misty or the young Misty, whether it was Christina Ricci or the other chick actress. Like I was like, oh, some shit's about to happen. Let's see what the fuck happens. Good show. I enjoyed it. I'm glad you saw it.
I still have 2 episodes left. But what was your rating? You didn't give one.
I'm up there with you too. I'm also like at 9.5. I also kudos to the theme song. Like it's the theme song just fit very well with the attitude that the show was giving off. A little bit of like horror, a little bit of punk, fuck you, a little bit like, oh shit, like chaos is happening. But Lord of the Flies is a good analogy for sure.
Oh, any Lost in the Wilderness, crazy shit goes down. Like that's the go-to example. And again, it's just poor Coach Ben. He's he literally can't get away from them. He's got one leg.
I don't do this to most shows I watch, but every now and again, like a show like really has me in its claws, and I'll start going up and looking up other YouTube videos like that are like reviews of the show or like spoilers or predictions of what the fuck's gonna happen, theories. And so I've watched a bunch of them for this show, and it tells you like, oh, Armando really liked the show because he's watching all this other bullshit content about it.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, and so yeah, I can't wait for season 2. I really can't wait for season 2. It's really good. I didn't think I was gonna like it, and I've actually talked about it to my coworkers. I was like, oh, you guys got to watch this shit. Like I have a coworker that's like, him and his girlfriend are kind of like skater punk gothy, into comic books kind of,
So I would like it, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, you guys would like the show.
Well, and the funny, you talked about it having that sort of ensemble appeal. Girls teams really can be that diverse. I mean, the last school I worked at, which was a state school in Pennsylvania, it was not quite a variety of personalities. But that Catholic school that I was talking about, we had like the weirdest collection in a good way.
Yeah.
Of different sort of characters and everything. And yeah, there was like drama. I mean, good and bad. And the show was well written enough and engaging enough. I'm like, oh, it didn't trigger PTSD from my real life experiences. Except for the Blood Hive episode, that one I was like, no, run, Coach Ben, get out of there. It's
yeah, there's a lot of mystery stuff that like like even in my head, I was like coming up with theories and shit. Like even watching all the stuff I've seen on YouTube videos, I'm like coming up with my own ideas of what might happen with this character and that character. And
well, it was nice also to see them though kind of portrayed as being raunchy, because I think a lot of
chicks are raunchy,
especially in a group. Like I think when there's guys around, they feel more like, oh, we have to be proper, like women never poop or make, we're clean, pure, angelic beings. But then when they're by themselves, they relax a little bit, and it's like one of those things when if you are just one of two male coaches, they just kind of get used to you eventually, and they're like, it's not an actual guy, it's just the coach.
Yeah.
And so like, there's stuff I heard on some of those trips where I'm like, oh god, let me just try to block that out and pretend that I never heard this. But it was a good show, and I actually think that the multiple timelines worked way better than a show like Lost.
Yeah.
I always make fun of Lost because I think Lost used flashbacks, and I'm like, this is just crappy storytelling, so you don't have to like actually develop the characters.
Yeah.
But these weren't flashbacks. It was like these two parallel stories.
Yeah.
And the younger selves and the older selves played really well off of each other, just in terms of the writing and what was happening to them. We're like, the stories are almost evolving parallel to each other.
Yeah.
So great show. Yellowjackets. I think you can get a 7-day free trial. This is one where it's probably bingeable in like a day or two.
Yeah, I don't know how many days it took me to watch it all, but it was very good, very well written, and I can't wait till season 2 comes out. It's for sure, I think, of 2022, the show of the year. I'm just saying it right now so far for me.
I have enjoyed Peacemaker way more thus far, but this is just such a well done show. I mean, this is one where I'm like, I think probably objectively you could say it's a better show, even personal enjoyment aside.
Yeah.
Peacemaker. I don't know if you saw the last episode of Peacemaker.
I have not. So
dude, I was dying.
Don't ruin it.
That was there's a sequence where I was laughing out loud, like, and that is uncommon for me. Normally I'll be like, haha, that's funny in my head.
Yeah.
It was like at night, like alone in the dark in my room, just like so yeah, enjoy that, Mondo.
Right on. Well, I think that's it. That's it for this episode. We thank you guys for watching on YouTube. If you've watched on YouTube, or also we're on Twitch now. Aaron hooked it up. I think we did a trial run today a couple times, where we're trying to see if we're on Twitch. So if we're on Twitch, catch us on Twitch as well. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We will see you guys. Oh, by the way, next week is Super Bowl. I want to watch the game. I don't remember what the fuck time it is, the game. So we might have to stream next week a little earlier. I don't know. I forget what time the fucking Super Bowl game starts. So if not, we might have to catch you guys earlier next week. But thanks for listening. We appreciate you guys. Talk to you next week. Have a good rest of your day and stuff.